On land, a penguin is a physics disaster. It's a tuxedo-wearing bowling ball that trips over its own shadow. That's not an accident, it's a structural trade-off. Most birds are built like kites. They have hollow bones and light frames sacrificed for the sky. The penguin looked at the sky and decided it was a poor investment. They filled their bones with solid calcium. They made them as heavy as lead pipes. You want to dive 500 meters deep without bobbing back up like a cork? You have to sink. They turn themselves into biological ballast. Look at this X-ray. Those aren't short legs. The penguin has full-length limbs. The hips and knees are permanently tucked up inside the ribcage. It lives its entire life in a deep structural squat. Protruding limbs create drag. To be a hydrodynamic torpedo, the penguins sacrifice the ability to walk. Walking is now a logistical failure. They use a pendulum waddle to recover 80% of their kinetic energy. Without that hack, they would starve before reaching the water. They are lords of the ocean. The tax for that power is moving on land like a drunk wardrobe. The penguin is wrapped in windproof armor. It has 100 oil-soaked feathers per square inch. The biggest threat in Antarctica isn't freezing, it's heat stroke. This Kevlar suit traps air so effectively that the cold never touches the skin. In a minus 60-degree blizzard, that becomes a problem. Look at the huddle. It's not a group hug, it's a thermodynamic engine. Thousands of birds rotate in a mathematical circle. Everyone gets a turn in the middle. The center of that huddle can hit 37 degrees Celsius. The wind is screaming outside. The birds in the core are suffocating. They are panting from the heat. They have to break the formation just to keep from cooking themselves. The feet are the only part left out of the suit. You don't want to stick to the ground like a tongue to a frozen flagpole. They use countercurrent heat exchange. The blood going to the feet is cooled by the blood coming back up. Their feet are kept at exactly 1 degree above freezing. They are standing on ice with blocks of ice. It's a perfect system, right up until the suit needs a repair. A penguin's suit is a pressurized garment. Lose 2 feathers and the seal breaks. The water gets in, you die. They can't repair it in pieces. They undergo a catastrophic molt. They don't just shed, they explode. For 3 weeks, the bird is an uninsulated, starving pillow stuck on the ice. They can't go into the water, they can't eat, they can't waste energy moving. They solved the hygiene problem with ballistics. A penguin generates 60 kilopascals of internal pressure. It launches waste 4 feet away from the nest. It's not a habit, it's a labor-saving device. The energy cost of standing up is higher than the energy cost of pressure washing the landscape. They survive the molt by doing absolutely nothing. Then they head back to the water. They begin a hunting routine that looks like a suicide pact. A penguin opens its mouth. The cute story ends. The tongue and the roof of the mouth are lined with hundreds of backward-facing spikes. A fish goes in. There is no physical way for it to come back out. It's a one-way conveyor belt of death. To feed that mouth, they have to move. A penguin leaves the water. It doesn't just swim. It wraps itself in air. They squeeze their feathers to release microbubbles. This creates a lubricated air skin. It reduces friction to almost zero. They become bubble-wrapped torpedoes. They hit speeds that launch them 9 feet into the air. They have no landing gear. They hit the ice with a thud and slide on their bellies. Their legs are still tucked into their armpits. They do this for months. They gorge on fish to build a blubber layer. The next step is a 100-kilometer march into total darkness. They're about to play the highest stakes game of don't drop the egg in history. The emperor penguin breeds in the middle of the Antarctic winter on solid ice. They need the nursery to stay frozen until the chicks grow their own suits. If they did this in the summer, the floor would melt. The colony would drown. The males stand in the dark for 115 days without food. They balance an egg on their feet under a flap of skin. The egg touches the ice for 60 seconds. The embryo freezes solid. The male loses 45% of his mass just vibrating to stay alive. The female returns. The male is a skeleton wrapped in feathers. The chick hatches into a minus 60-degree void. It has no fat, no insulation. It lives in a 2-minute window. It falls off its father's feet. It has 120 seconds to get back into the warmth. After that, it becomes a permanent part of the glacier. The penguin is a biological submarine. It successfully colonized a wasteland. It turned its bones into lead. It turned its skin into a pressure suit. The male survives the winter as a skeletal shell of a bird. He sacrifices half his weight to a single egg. The final irony. Evolution built a bird that can't fly. It built a hunter that has to starve for 3 months to raise a kid. It created a walking heater that risks heat stroke in the coldest place on Earth.